So white balance in basic terms means it's trying to compensate for all the different colors and tones in the world, as it tries to bring everything back to a place where whites look white. Think about a piece of paper as something that's actually white. It should look white if it's outside in bright daylight or in dark environments such as night or in the snow. White balance is measured on a scale called Kelvin scale and is measured from orange to blue. So for example, if you're in an inside environment where everything looks too orange, then we need to add blue tones to it to bring the image back to neutral. Vice versa, if you're out at night and the scene is very blue or cool, then we need to add warm tones to it to bring it back to neutral. Bright daylight, for example, is measured between 5600 and 6000 Kelvin. Overcast sky is about 6 to 7 Kelvin. Sunrise and sunset is 2500 to 3200. Indoor lighting can be 3000 to 4000. And candlelight is about 1000 to 2000. Setting white balance in auto. The problem with this is if you're doing post-production and cutting different scenes all together. The auto white balance might show different hues or color temperatures between each scene. So if you have a series of these clips and they're very similar, then it's probably better to stick with the white balance value off the Kelvin chart. If you're filming a night scene, for example, with lots of different lighting, such as downtown, you may not need to be perfect. So set it between approximately 3200 and 4000. And just like how auto exposure changes as you move the camera around, so does auto white balance. If you're filming outside on a bright sunny day, have the white balance in auto may work fine. But once you move indoors or to artificial lighting or to a very shady area, the color temperature will change. So I suggest you do the following. You can do this on the Pocket itself, or better still, have your phone attached and use the Mimo app if possible. In white balance, whatever the environment is that you're filming, set it to auto. The camera's pretty good at setting this and it's pretty accurate. In the phone app, click on the 3 dots on the bottom, then choose white balance. Make sure white balance is set to auto. Now click on custom. Here we see a scale and it'll tell you what the Kelvin temperature was that the auto just took. If the image is too warm or orange, drag the slider or press the minus button to move everything to the left and get a lower value. This will add blue or cooler tones to the image and help neutralize it. Do the opposite if the image is too cool or blue. Drag the slider to the right or increase the value to add warmer tones. And this also will cool out the blue tone and make it neutral. If you get lost, go back to auto. Then click custom. Click anywhere on the screen, and now your white balance is set to whatever the Kelvin value was that you just set. Don't forget to repeat the procedure if you film in a totally different environment, such as going from bright sun to dark shade or indoors. So here we are outside in full sun, and if we drag the slider to the right, you can see we're introducing warmer tones, and it's a lot more orange. If you go the other way, it'll give you more blue tones. So if you want to put it back to where you were, and you're not sure what that is, just select auto again, and that'll do it automatically for you. Then go to custom, and you can see you're at 5400. The same can be done directly on the Pocket. So what you want to do is get into the habit of every time you're going to shoot in a particular area, doesn't matter where it is, swipe over, hit Pro Mode on, go to Auto White Balance first, make sure you're in Auto White Balance, then hit Manual and confirm. And now you're ready to record. Okay, the other thing that happens here is you can use the Kelvin scale if you find that, you know, just for whatever type of feel you're looking for. So we can do auto white balance, okay, and then go to manual. We're at 5400 Kelvin, which is good where we are, and that's what we would normally shoot at. But let's say for whatever reason you want to get it warmer or cooler. When you're in manual, You can use the scale here, and if we drop it down, it's going to go a lot cooler. So if we keep coming down to 2600, 2200 Kelvin, 2000 Kelvin, that's a lot bluer of a tone, so it's going to add a blue tone to it. Alright, but if we go the other way, we can keep going up the other way, it's going to add warmer tones to it as we get nearer to the higher end of the value. Keep going up. And we're at 6000, and that'll give us a warmer tone. Alright, same thing, so we're in a totally different location. But all we would do is swipe over, auto white balance, and then hit manual, and we're at 3500 Kelvin. And then we're here, and this is where we would start recording. So depending on maybe you want to give it a certain look or a certain feel, you can do that. But if you want to get back to normal, which is what we would normally do, go back to auto white balance, say confirm, or if you want to stick it there to be able to record, hit manual and lock it in place. Because just like exposure, the white balance will shift as well if you're moving the camera around. So as long as we're shooting in this particular area, then it's very simple. Auto white balance first, and then hit manual. Let's take a look at white balance and what we can do to make sure that we have either the correct white balance in camera, and it's a good habit to get into every time you do it. Make sure that you go to auto white balance and then set it to manual. Or the other way is using a color card so that you just have that in frame for a couple of seconds or take a picture. And when you're doing post color correction, you can get a guarantee almost that all your colors are going to be good because they'll match up, because you have a calibration that you've done with each shot. All right, let's jump into it. Also, one thing you can do, which is always good to get the right colors and also white balance, is use something like this color checker. So let's do auto white balance again, manual, confirm. And then what we can do is take a few seconds of footage with this. This is called an X-ray color checker. We're just going to hold it in front of the subject just for a few seconds, or even take a picture, and that will allow you to be able to double check not only your colors but your white balance in post. It's pretty small, but you can hold this out for the first few seconds of your video in any scene, and then you get all the colors and white balance that you can set in post and get a reading for each scene. Now you can do the same thing with this. It'll fold away gray card. So just take a couple of seconds of it, just in the scene. You don't want to be right up next to the camera. Just have it at arm's length, just enough to fill up the area. And that will also give you a good reference for a white balance. Or again, another thing you can use is one of these portable gray cards. Hold it in the scene, and just for a second or two, or get a picture of it, and this will give you a great reference for post white balance between your shots. And then lastly, we can use this calibration grey card here. And what we can do is hold it at arm's length. And what we're going to do then is make sure that we're in auto white balance, which we are, confirm. I'm going to hold it away from the camera on the Pocket, and then what I'm going to do then is use the zoom function to zoom in to fill the screen. And when I've done that, I'm going to then set my white balance to manual, confirm, bring it back, and then zoom out. And that should be calibrating. If we had multiple cameras, we can calibrate it to this card here.